So we'll see.
But do you think are you still a bit tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see.
The worrying thing is with Moses' style, he could be landing some serious bombs, sharp bombs that do a lot of damage to Dillian early doors, so he could never get into the fight. So yeah, I think it's stacked against Dillian. I'm not saying that Dillian can't do anything in the fight. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if I'm looking at from the outside in and just looking at how I see both men's stages of careers, the styles.
Dillian Whyte have done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least to ask questions of this young pup.
Heavyweight boxing experts share their thoughts on the upcoming clash between Moses Itauma and Dillian Whyte. Promoter Frank Warren backs Moses to take the win, though he acknowledges it won't be easy. Dillian packs serious power. Despite the threat, Warren believes Moses has the composure and skill to come out on top. He's also openly rooting for Moses, seeing him as a rising star and a major name in the future of heavyweight boxing.
What is your forecast for this fight?
I think he's going to be in a tough fight. I know he's got the punch power to hurt and stop Dillian Whyte, but I also know that Dillian Whyte also has the punch power to cause damage. And the one thing with Moses at the moment is that's not been tested. So we'll see.
But do you think are you still a bit tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see. For me, beating him is a big thing.
Right.
However he does it, and I want to see the other side of him as well. I want to see him. I want to see him in a tough 12-round fight where he comes through it and boxes his way through it. He's not a one-trick pony. He can box, but as I say, this is a tough one. This is going to be. This is a fan's fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight.
That's what it is. It is a fan.
Renowned boxing analyst and commentator Ade Oladipo has shared his thoughts on Dillian Whyte ahead of his upcoming bout with rising star Moses Itauma. While Oladipo acknowledges that Whyte's recent form hasn't been impressive, he highlights a noticeable shift in this training camp. Footage and updates suggest Whyte is in significantly better condition, leaner, sharper, and arguably in the best shape of his career. This physical transformation, according to Oladipo, could pose a serious challenge for the young contender. He believes Whyte now has what it takes to truly test Moses and push him to the edge once they're in the ring.
All of a sudden, people have seen the shape that... I saw a video, which I'm guessing you guys have seen as well, of Dillian Whyte hitting the heavy bag and doing a bit of shadow boxing. He looked incredible. Dillian Whyte, me and G-Man did the look back, didn't we? Dillian Whyte versus Chisora. And Dillian Whyte looked in incredible shape there. And I was thinking, if he can get close to that, he's close to that. He's close to that. Dillian Whyte in his last few fights has been around the 260 mark. I think it might have even been heavy for a couple. I think he looks low 250s. And all I can ask from a fighter, this is why I get so pissed off with Martin Bakole, just get in shape. Like, skill's skill. You're not going to change a fighter from fucking where you are to Muhammad Ali. I'm not asking for that. Just get in shape. Dillian Whyte has ticked that box. And he's like, okay, if you think I'm going over to Saudi Arabia just to get smoked by this 20-year-old, we'll see. That's what I'm taking from the shape I'm seeing him in, because he looks incredible. And also, when he's firing out his jab in that little shadow boxing, his arms are so long. Like, Dillian Whyte, compared to his body structure, he has overly long arms. What I'm getting at is that Dillian Whyte can box a bit as well, He's not just a brawler. He's been tagged as this brawler. He can box a little bit. Is he a better boxer than Moses? No. But that jab could be key. Jab's always key, right? We always talk about it. But one thing I see with Dillian Whyte being in this shape is that he's saying, if I can take this young boy past 6, we're going to go into deep waters that this young boy's never been before. And it's all well and good Moses saying, I'm sparring 10 rounds, I'm sparring 12 rounds. And, I was on TalkSport when he mentioned this yesterday. Fighting 10 rounds is different. Fighting 12 rounds is different. Dillian Whyte's done that. And look, sometimes Dillian Whyte's blown out of his arse. Sometimes Dillian Whyte's been beat in those 12-round fights. But Dillian Whyte has done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least to ask questions of this young pup.
Former pro boxer and current analyst Lawrence Oui praises Moses Itauma for his impressive performances so far, noting that he's secured some standout victories. However, he also points out a key factor: none of those wins have come against someone with Dillian Whyte's level of experience and pedigree. Moses is still in the early stages of his career and hasn't yet faced the kind of elite competition that Whyte has over the years. According to OUI, this gap in top-level experience could heavily influence how the fight plays out.
I know, relax. Moses has been performing under the bright lights, but what I'm saying is, it's still so early and he's got a lot to prove. Up until this point, I can't argue. He's passed every test with flying colours, but the problem is, he's passed so easily, he's missed out on valuable lessons along the way, and he's now got a very experienced veteran in front of him in Dillian Whyte, who's been at world level. Everybody's written Dillian off, but recently, seeing interviews and seeing training footage, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I've got to be honest, my mind's starting to shift. Let's take a look and discuss the key takeaways.
I don't think I've ever seen you be this big an underdog in a fight. You are like 1-14.
Dev asked Dillian, how does he feel being the underdog?
And that's what makes it dangerous. As an underdog, you're underneath. You get up at them testicles and lock onto them, and it's game over.
It's crazy really because, like I said, he's fought at world level, fighting the likes of Povetkin, Fury, Chisora, AJ, Parker, the list goes on. But in sports, you're only as good as your last performance. In Dillian's last fight, he looked terrible, putting it politely.
Has he put something in you? Because like your last few fights, Ebenezer like instilled a fear, not...
No man has put anything in me. Pause this.
Dillian does make me laugh. Dark humour. But maybe that says more about me. He says it the way it is. There's no sugar coating. Dev says, is this the biggest risk he's took in his career? Which again is madness.
All of them has been massive because you think no one's ever had me as the favourite. Think of one fight that was the favourite. Just think.
Dillian's right. He's always the underdog. It's nothing new.
How do you reflect on your fight with Tete?
It was what it was. Listen, I've been walking the long, lonely, dark road for 3 years.
This is the thing. People forget that fighters go through things outside of the ring which affect the performance, but us fans only judge the performance. At the end of the day, fighters are human, they're not robots.
Then that fight for me was ask myself a question. Can I take a good walk and push through? Can I force myself to put the jabs in? Can I...
He admits he wasn't in great shape, but that fight for him was about dipping his foot in the water and seeing if he still got it and still wants it.
I had a few injuries and stuff going into the fight, but it is what it was. But that fight reignited the...
Recent training footage of Dillian Whyte has caught the attention of fans and analysts alike, especially after concerns were raised about his form due to inactivity and a lackluster previous outing. The new clips paint a different picture. Whyte looks sharp, purposeful, and powerful, showcasing crisp combinations and steady focus during drills. Physically, he seems close to the condition he was in back in 2018, when he famously stopped Lucas Browne in dominant fashion. This apparent resurgence has reignited belief among his supporters, who feel he still has what it takes to compete at the top. With a high-stakes showdown against the rising force, Moses Itauma, just around the corner, Whyte's training transformation has become a hot topic in the boxing world, setting the stage for what could be an explosive heavyweight battle.
That since like late 18, right? I remember him knocking out Lucas Browne. When he knocked out Lucas Browne, he looked like he was in the best shape of his life. He looks similar or better now, which is very impressive. And I think like Terrence Crawford, people are now looking at Dillian Whyte. You know, seeing is believing. You know, when we see results, we start believing in those results. I think now people understand that Dillian Whyte has taken this very seriously. He's been out of the ring for a long time. His last two opponents quit. Tete and Hammer, they both quit. And I think that Dillian, this is his last hurrah. If it's his last hurrah, if it's his last time to shine, he has nothing to lose. Why not go out with a bang? Why not go in the best shape possible? Why not do what you're supposed to do in training camp? Okay, because you can't really predict what happens in that ring except you and that other guy. It's up to you or that other guy. But in training camp, you have a team around you. You have determination, you have motivation, you have discipline more than likely. Okay. And I think that Dillian Whyte is looking great, bro. He is looking great. He doesn't have the unbalanced body type like you normally see him. He's too big upper body, legs are small. You know what I mean? He's throwing, he's all off balance because of the imbalance of his body. But I do think that Dillian Whyte will come in to make a splash, and this is how you're supposed to look if you intend on doing it. I love the way he looks. He looks great. He looks in shape. He looks like he's ready for a battle. That's what it's about.
Heading into this highly anticipated clash, boxing fans and analysts alike agree that the pressure is squarely on Moses Itauma's shoulders. Many believe that unless he delivers a clear and dominant victory over Dillian Whyte, the value of his previous wins could begin to fade in the public eye. In boxing, reputations can shift dramatically after just one fight, and expectations are high. A close or unimpressive win might not satisfy those who've already labeled him the next big thing, and could even spark questions about whether he's truly ready for the division's elite. For Moses, this fight is about more than just extending his undefeated record, it's about defending the reputation he's carefully built and proving that his rise through the heavyweight ranks is no fluke.
So much pressure now on this young man's shoulders. Like, if he doesn't look spectacular against Dillian Whyte, all of a sudden people are like, that's how fickle boxing fans are. We're so fucking fickle. If he doesn't look great against Dillian Whyte, we'll be like, he's almost got to ice Dillian Whyte for everyone to say, yeah, he's the king. You know what I mean? For him to continue that trajectory, because he is like a fucking rocket ship at the moment. Going on the eye test, I think he has absolutely everything. Going on what people tell me about him, I think he has absolutely everything. Like, I hear the sparring stories. Guys, there is so much I could share on this channel that I don't. So much. But I hear the sparring stories. I know who he's hurt. I know who he's wobbled. I know all those things. And he's a bad man. Honestly, he's a bad man. I look at him, it's funny. I don't feel like I'm interviewing a 20-year-old. Do you know what I mean? He just is a man, isn't he? But yet he's a kid. And being a kid isn't a bad thing in the sport of boxing, because there is that kind of fearlessness, like this youthful exuberance, speed. You're not damaged goods. You haven't been through the trenches. The politics of boxing hasn't made you fall out of love with the sport yet. So as much as people say he lacks experience, sometimes lacking experience in those things I've just mentioned can't be too bad.
British light heavyweight contender Anthony Yarde has been vocal about his belief in Moses Itauma's potential. According to Yarde, Moses displayed signs of greatness even at just 18 years old. He sees in him the traits needed to dominate the heavyweight division in the future and firmly believes Moses has what it takes to become a world champion. Yarde's confidence isn't just based on what is seen in the ring, it also comes from recognizing the mindset and drive that are essential for success at the sport's highest level.
Moses Itauma, his first headline event, takes on the body snatcher Dillian Whyte. You first on this. How good is Moses? I mean, you must hear the stories that everyone seems to hear about the sparring and all that. How good is Moses when you're watching him?
I've seen Moses, and I've said this from the beginning, from when he was 18, 19. This guy, he's it.
He's it.
He is it. He is it. This is my opinion. It's boxing. I know it's pressure and all these kind of things or whatever, but he's it.
Why?
He's got a skill set, fast hands, footwork. From what I've seen, he's got a chin. Not that you need to be getting hit with these wild shots, because clearly you've done something wrong if you got hit. Good jab, you know. For me, in my opinion, he's it.
British boxing trainer and analyst Dave Caldwell believes that Moses Itauma's fighting style could pose serious problems for Dillian Whyte. He points out Moses's sharp mix of speed, accuracy, and controlled aggression, a dangerous combination, especially against a fighter like Whyte, who's taken a lot of punishment over the years. Caldwell warns that at this stage in Whyte's career, he'll need to be extremely careful, because Moses has the power and precision to do real damage if given the chance. Meanwhile, a member of Whyte's training camp has acknowledged the threat Moses brings. They recognize that Moses is young, explosive, and full of energy, and if Whyte rushes in during the early rounds, it could backfire. Instead, their strategy is to make Moses work from the opening bell, applying pressure while keeping things tight defensively. The goal is to tire him out, force mistakes, and put him in unfamiliar, uncomfortable territory as the fight progresses.
We've not really seen him, and that's where his weakness could be.
Of course. I mean, if you try to go out there and blast him out, you're playing into his hands because he's young, he's fast, and he can punch. So sometimes you gotta walk him down.
You've been part of the Dillian Whyte team now. Dillian Whyte joined you, right? He left Mark Tibbs and said, okay, I need Buddy McGirt. You've been part of the team for a while. Do you have any say on the opponent? Now, does he come to you, for example, and say, look, okay, this is what we want to do, and then you can kind of give him guidance? Or is it a case of, this is the opponent, get me ready for this opponent, Buddy?
Well, it's like this. In a situation like this, when they come to you, he said to me, listen, Buddy, this is what they're putting on the table for me. I said, so what do you want to do? I mean, I don't want to say, yeah, and you're not feeling it. I want to see what you're feeling. And he goes, I got to go for it. So, all right, let's go. We're a team. So if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. I mean, if we got to go through this hailstorm to get to the other side of the we got to do what we got to do.
Buddy, I saw something the other day, and I don't believe you. I want to pull you up on it. I think I saw that you said you haven't seen Moses box before, and you don't watch your opponent's box. But I don't believe you, buddy. I don't believe you.
I swear to you. I will not lie to you.
They're counting on stretching the fight into the later rounds, believing that as the pace slows and the physical grind sets in, things will start tipping in Whyte's favor. His years of experience, sharp ring IQ, and ability to adapt on the fly could give him the edge to take control when it matters most. The idea is simple: wear down Moses, take the sting out of his youthful energy, and flip the momentum. But not everyone is confident. Whyte's former trainer, who has been in his corner through tough wars and high-stakes nights, admits he's uneasy about this matchup. Yes, there's good money on the line and a chance to boost Whyte's career, but Moses Itauma isn't just another opponent. He's young, hungry, technically sharp, and driven to make a statement. That mix can cause chaos in the ring, especially when the other guy feels he has something to prove. The trainer warns that while experience is a weapon, facing a rising, motivated fighter takes more than just ring smarts. This is no place for complacency. One wrong move could be enough to change the fight. In his eyes, the challenge isn't only about physical preparation, but also mental sharpness. And the danger? Very real.
To be fair, I had 11 fights with Dillian. We got to world #1. And so I know Dillian really, really well. And I don't like that fight for him. I never thought it'd be a step up for someone. He won't like me saying that. It's just my emotional investment that was in him. But, he's done very well, Dillian, and he deserves a big payday. I'm sure I'm hoping he's getting that. Listen, he's got the experience to upset the apple cart, Dillian. He has. But what's his name? Who's he fighting?
Moses Itauma.
Moses, I beg your pardon. Moses is a serious, responsive operator, and man can pick his punches well. So, yeah. Obviously, Moses is the favourite for me in that fight, but, I like to see someone like Dillian with that art and that mindset and his character. I like Dillian.
Moses Itauma speaks with a confidence that never wavers, making no secret of the fact that he sees himself on a different level than the rest of the boxing scene. He insists his skills and fight IQ are second to none, even going so far as to claim his technical ability and ring smarts surpass those of Alexander Usyk. These aren't just bold words, they reveal the depth of belief he carries and the fearless mindset he brings to every fight. For Itauma, this isn't simply another date on the boxing calendar. It's an opportunity to prove he can dominate anyone who dares stand in his way. He steps through the ropes not just as a fast-rising contender, but as a man convinced his path leads to greatness.